How you doing, Kingdom Diplomats? This your boy Tyreek, Kingdom Diplomat. I just wanted to stop in here real quick, and this is a shout out to my boy Rye. I just talked to him. I'd probably say about an hour ago, maybe an hour and a half ago, and had to go to the store because there's some inclement weather coming where we are. Um, Here in North Carolina. So hopefully you guys, if you're in the vicinity or if you're in the pathway of the storm, hopefully you guys are going to be inside. Please think that through. Think ahead. Prepare ahead. If you got to go out, okay? Because your life is intrinsic. It's essential. It's natural. And you're one of a kind. You have value, whether you know that or not, believe that or not. I'm letting you know, okay? If nobody ever told you that they love you, I love you. I don't need to know you because, as I said before, we're all part of this whole kingdom experience. And you'll understand if you're the first time stepping into my office podcast, go back and listen to why I said that word kingdom, because when you understand, even though in the natural we live in a democratic republic and most of the world is in a democratic republic government, and intertwined with religions, you'll understand who you truly are, right? Because again, if you don't know those 5 important questions that I always talk about, who are you, your identity, why you're here, your purpose, where you're from, your origin, what you can do, right? Your talents, abilities that were implanted into you to use as a tool because you're a solution to a specific assignment in your generation. And number 5, where are you going, which is your vision, right? So those are the 5 most important, vital questions that all mankind needs to know, right? I don't like saying human because, me, guys, I'm on a track of getting rid of ignorance. Hopefully, ignorance is not bliss. That's another lie. In the vernacular of mankind, there's all kind of things that we say that program us for failure, right? But anyway, here's why I want to step in here real quick. Oh, well, before I get into this, so you guys, please be careful tomorrow if you have inclement weather wherever you are, here in America, whether in Canada, South America, whatever, inclement weather, any type of inclement weather, dealing with snow, sleet, rain, all that stuff like that. Be very, very careful, okay? So here's why I stepped in here real quick. I stepped in here real quick because shout out to my boy Rye. I just seen him about an hour ago, never met him before. Young gentleman, young king, whether he knows that or not. But I went to buy some salt because we're expecting inclement weather, ice, snow. And so, so I paid cash for it, okay? And I said, here, take some of this fiat money, right? He said, fiat? He said, what is that? I've never heard that word before. So he probably couldn't be no older than 21, 22, something like that. And man, I tell you, it seems like yesterday I was that age, but it goes by really fast, right? But so I said, he's like, I never heard that before. I said, fiat is basically fake. It's pretend. And I guess he would thought I meant counterfeit. I was like, so in other words, he had no clue, right? Just like I didn't years and years and years and years ago. Somebody had to give me the right kind of knowledge, right? And remember what the word knowledge means. It means information, and information means light, right? Not light bulb on, light bulb off. It means light, illumination of the mind, right? Because everybody right now is where they are in life based upon the ignorance that they're walking into, right? They're walking in the area of life, right? And as you remember me talking about last week and a week before that, and the common thread, one of the common threads through everything is that that the King Christ created everything based on law, okay? And there's unseen laws that make the seen world, the natural world, okay? So when I told him that, I said, hey, you should check out my podcast. And so he subscribed and everything like that. So this one's for you, Rye. All right, now let's get into this because this is going to help you out here. I know you guys are probably getting ready for the football game. And at some point in time, I'm going to tell you where that comes from also too. Football, basketball, a lot of those different types of sports. It'll blow your mind as far as where they actually come from. Because once you find out the origin of things and why we celebrate them, traditions and everything, let's just say to give you a different perspective, okay? Now the word, let me see, so it was fiat. I looked up fiat, right? Okay, so he didn't know what fiat meant, okay? So fiat in the vernacular or vocabulary of money, in that realm, it says that fiat money lacks intrinsic value. Intrinsic value. What's intrinsic? It means essential. Okay. It means natural. Okay. So think about that right there. See, here's the problem with a lot of us, including myself, with just mankind in general. See, we're so inundated with stuff coming at us all over the place, right? And it's just social this, social that, social that. Now, don't get me wrong. We're a three-part being. We're a spirit. That's the core of us. That's the true us. We're a soul, right? Mind, will, emotions, and intellect. And we live in this natural body, in this natural realm. So we're a triune being, right? We exist in three different dimensions, okay? So, but anything, see, when we overdo stuff, right? That's the thing. We overeat, we overwatch stuff, right? We do the over, right? Gambling, they even got it in gambling, the vocabulary. I got the over. You got the over, you got the under. I got the over, right? We overindulge, right? And that's what causes us to perish. That's one of the reasons which causes us to perish. So intrinsic, again, I said means, let me just read this out so you guys understand this. So it says fiat money lacks intrinsic or natural value because it is not backed by a physical commodity, gold, silver, right? We were taking off the gold standard back in the 1970s, right? So essentially it's backed by, right, muscle, right? It's backed by muscle, okay? That's basically what they're saying in that definition. And its value or worth is derived from the government, regulation, and public trust. See, each word in this sentence is very vital. See, we don't think enough. We're so inundated, like I said before, things are coming at us from all different directions. That's why we need time alone to think. That's why we need time alone to read. That's why we need time alone to put the good stuff in us, right? And while we're doing that, make sure we cap the bad stuff in the bad environment that we're in and get this thing reprogrammed. Where the mind goes, the body will follow. Where the mind goes, the body will follow. Where the mind goes, the body will follow. I said it 3 times. That means pay attention, write it down, okay? So, now check this out. So the intrinsic means essential and natural, okay? So everybody agrees, all mankind agrees that we didn't create anything, right? We didn't create ourselves. I had one young lady tell me, we went to school together years and years ago, and she told me on this platform, she was like, well, my mom and dad created me. I said, really? I said, well, what about your mom and your dad, their parents, right? And I said, keep going back. Okay, you got to come to one person, right? See, one acorn seed creates an acorn forest. One idea that you get and you put into action, right? And you walk it out. You have a plan, you walk it out, you're flexible, and you go after it, right? Can feed a nation of people. Think about the ideas of the person that discovered the phone, right? The cell phone, right? How many people are using the cell phone worldwide? You ever think about that? Billions of people. There's 8.2 billion people running around the world. And that doesn't even include the people that were murdered in the womb, right? And through abortion, right? And that are not counted, okay? So that's quite a bit. And if you go all the way back in history, chronologically speaking, we're about 120 something billion people, right? Since Adam, our forefather, right, which we all came through. Okay, now check this out. So the word intrinsic means natural, means essential. So since we didn't create anything natural, what does that tell you right there in that definition? That means that the creator, the king, the Lord, right, Christ, and he's anointed king, that's what it's referring to. See, the reason why I know that is because that's the origin, right? Anyway, so you guys get what I'm saying. Here's another thing I want you guys to check out. So hopefully Rye checks this out also too. Let's see. So you have to look at yourself as a brand, right? You're a product. You're a product. Product. Pro means for, duct, right? There's some type of production going on that you're doing every day. Okay, so you're a product. That means every product has a manufacturer, right? Manufacturer. That means a maker's mind. See, I told you this is the most important thing on this planet outside your spirit, that's operating between your ears. Yes, your brain, which is housed by your soul, right? Mind, will, emotions, intellect. Okay. So since you're a product, you have to have a brand. Everybody has a brand. How you dress, how you look, right? How you take care of the laws in your body, right? You know, I have a battle with salt and sugar, right? You see how the food makers and the our government allowed this stuff in our foods, toxins, all this stuff like that. So I know I got a guy's book, and his name is Kevin Trudeau. I got his book. It says, what was the name of that title? Natural Cures That They Don't Want You to Know, or something like that. Oh, phenomenal book. Okay. I'm going to cut this short. Okay. So he was the one that came up with the idea, he said, with salt, to get people addicted to salt and sugar. What? I read this in his book, right? And so I remember in high school, we had the snack machines. Well, if you look at the snack machines, you look at the content in the back, it's not real food. There's very little, if no, nutritional value, just a bunch of sugar and a bunch of salt, right? Because it trains our 100,000, what do you call those little things on your tongue? Those little, gosh, I just said it earlier, taste buds, right? And it the salt and sugar trains our taste buds, and it's connected to a brain, right? Also to want salt and sugar. So anyway, so why did I go off on that? I'm not sure, but maybe that helps somebody else out. But anyway, so I just want to talk about that real quick. Now, how does that tie into you being a leader? Whether you know it or not, you're a leader trapped in a follower. You just need the right information. You need to learn how to cap the negative. You need to read the right information and need to hang around the right people for your seed to grow. Okay, it's going to grow automatically because it's all based on law. Okay, everything is based on law. That's how I can talk to 5 people that hang around each other, and I can pretty much guess what they make within probably about $10,000 to $20,000. All I have to do is listen to them talk probably for about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Some people maybe a little bit more, right? Because looks can be deceiving, but for the most part, I'm pretty sure I'd be able to guess probably anywhere between the 50 to 75% range. Okay. And believe you me, I know people who make quite a bit of money because they have the right mindset in that area, but have a nasty mouth, right? But anyway, so how does that tie into you? Well, it's very simple. Everything that you think about yourself, most of it is a lie. And when I found that out, how did I find that out? I found that out by this Constitution right here, this Bible right here, right? And I found that out by some of these books right here, okay? I found that out by a book like this right here, right? This is years and years ago, right? I found that out by reading this type of books. Capping the Negative, by the way, right? I found that out years ago about me, and guess what? I'm still finding more things about. So this is an ongoing journey, okay? But fiat, I like using that word, fake, pretend, right? Pretending to be, pretending. That's one of the things that the king said, Yeshua, he said when he was talking to the Pharisees and the Sadducees, he said, you guys are pretending to pray, right? You're pretending to do, you have these big, huge, wide robes that have gold and silk and the gold type of tapestry woven into the robes and just immaculate. You know what I'm saying? And they were the creme de la creme. Okay, they were the top. You know, they were the top of the top. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, which are lawyers back then. He said, but you guys pretend. You're false pretenders, right? And then when you read down, this is in Matthew. Read down a little bit more. This is when he was going in the temple and he was there with his students, right? Because you got to remember back then he's the master teacher, the king, right? Christ, the second part of the deity, had to come again through the womb, right? Which is the doorway to this planet, to this natural realm. And his name is Yeshua HaMashiach, right? Some people call him Jesus, but that's not his real name. But anyway, Yeshua. And so they were in the temple and they were looking at this woman. She was a widow, so didn't have any more children, lost her husband some way, somehow, and she gave in 2 copper coins, right? And now the Pharisees, they're giving in a lot of money, right? So they think that they're doing everything, but he said, you guys are pretending to be, right? So why did I say that? Is because most of the thoughts that come through your mind are actually not you, okay? So I need you to get this through your head, right? You have to understand that. Go through some of my previous videos, do some more research on your own and understand that, right? There's a difference. And see, once I learned that, how to differentiate the thoughts, now, hey, I'm not an expert at it, but I've come a long way, okay? So most of what we're in, we're actually in a matrix. It's a fiat, right? It's a pretend, right? It's not intrinsic, right? In order to find out the real you, you have to cap the negative. There's no way in the world. Most people, listen to me now, most people, well, okay, not most people, many people will grow with me, right? As I'm literally imploring you, like begging you to find out who you truly are so you can help out the people around you and the people abroad, because a lot of you already have talents and abilities, you have ideas already in you, but you have to get into the right environment for your nature, for your glory to come out, right? See, if a flower that doesn't bloom, you don't get to see the flower's real glory. Are you listening to me? Okay, you don't get to see the flower's real glory. I don't care how I don't care if you're 7'1", you're 330 pounds. I don't care if you're 5 foot nothing, and you know 110 pounds. I don't care if you're man, woman. It doesn't matter. Especially men. That is, you know, I'm big, I'm tough. When you look at a flower, there's something about looking at nature and looking at a flower and watching it bloom, right? Or to seeing the glory come out of the flower. That means it actually reaches its apex, its peak. Are you listening to me? So most people are not going to reach their apex or peak. Is it because they can't? No, no, because the king, the creator, the Lord, he doesn't create garbage. Are you listening to me? But it's what we allow into these 5 senses, right? And the people that we hang around that eventually wear on us, wear us down like an engine, right? That's just being worn down. You're just running that car over and over again, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, right? Wearing it down, not getting the oil change when you need to get the oil change, not changing the plugs, not doing certain things. You're wearing the engine down, right? And what happens is that we accept just a version, a shell of ourselves, right? So the things that the person, or not the person, the man that I am right now, I'm still myself digging all the way down to the core of what I was created to be, right? And that's the journey, right? It's not the destination, it's the journey, okay? So If you're new, please subscribe. It doesn't have to be for my sake. So I came on this podcast simply because the king told me to, right? I have a personal relationship, right? I'm not a religious man. I don't belong to any of the religions or anything like that. I'm a kingdom man. Who are you? I had a guy ask me that, right? I had a pastor ask me that. I'm a kingdom man, right? And I realized that all the kingdoms in the natural realm, the governments and religions are failing. Okay, if you didn't know that, look around you, look in your family, look, be honest with yourself. They're failing, right? This is things I picked up on. I just didn't really know, back in the day. So that's it. I just wanted to stop in here real quick, guys, because I ran into my boy Rye, and hopefully he'll eventually watch this. And this one's for you, brother. Shout out. You're a king. So yeah, go through some of my videos, guys. Go back, take a lot of notes. If you got any questions, put them in the chat box. I'll be happy to answer them any way that I can. Okay. So in the near future, I'll be working on. I got the idea here. I have a book that's going to be coming out, one of many. But in the meantime, I got some other projects that are actually, as far as priority, above that. But it's here. I just want to let you know that eventually I'm going to have a program to where I can teach people how to change where they are to where they want to go. Okay. It's not going to be me. Most of it is going to be you. 80% of you is probably 90% is going to be you. I would probably say as much as 98% will be you. 2% me. So I'm kind of like the person that kind of like is the arrow, to show people which way to go. That's all I am. You know what I'm saying? But I like to think when you become who you truly are, right? It's not about the money. Don't chase the money. I'm telling you, I've already tried that. It doesn't work. Why? Because the king says in the Bible, he talks about if you seek first priority, number one, his kingdom message, his kingdom laws, right? How this whole natural world was created by the unseen, right? If you understand his laws of success, the laws of relationship, the laws of marriage, the laws of finances, or natural resources, the laws of this, the laws of that, there's laws in everything. He's basically telling you, I'm showing you how to succeed. Why? Because as a king, what did I say last week? As a king, you guys, mankind, are my kings, right? S, plural, small k, small I, N, G, S. Okay? And I've given each person an assignment. Now, I get it. There's a lot of people out there that don't want you to succeed. Maybe your next door neighbor doesn't want you to succeed. Maybe your mom or dad doesn't want you to succeed. Maybe one of your siblings doesn't want you to succeed. Don't worry about them. That's because their self-image is low, right? And most people's self-image is low in the world, researchers say. This was taken long ago, about 90%. So I'm here to help you, right? To help you dig down. You ever seen a jackhammer, a construction site? You ever hear that obnoxious noise? Just that's how you got to hit it, right? So be patient with yourself, right? But set some little objectives for yourself. You got to crawl before you walk, okay? So let me get out of here. I'm done. You guys have a great night. Enjoy. Be careful if you're in any inclement weather the next day, tomorrow, no matter where you are. Shout out to my continents all around the world, to my cousins, to my brothers all over Canada, obviously here in America, South America, Mexico, all my peeps down there, all my peeps out there in Kebulin, as some people would say Africa, but that word is not something that the Romans named her, a whore, a freak. Actually, her name is Kebulin. Okay, so shout out to all my brothers over there, all my cousins, right? Naturally speaking, bloodline over there on the East Coast and West Coast of Kebulin. Shout out to my peoples over there in Europe. I got a lot of family over there in London, Queenstown. What up? And let's see, all my peeps over there in Australia, over there in India, over there in China, Japan. That's right. Shout out to people over there in North Korea if you're watching. Hopefully you're able to kind of get that on there. Get me on there. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. You guys have a great evening. Be safe. Don't forget it. What do I always say? Not every time at the end of my podcast, but what do I always say? Your future is not ahead of you. Okay? It's actually on the inside of you in the form of a seed. If you get it in the right environment, you will automatically grow. Okay? If you cap the negative at the same time. All right? Have a good night, guys.